Hello everyone, back tuning into today's third video. We're doing the July CFS 6 Month Look-Ahead for today's third video. So as the name says on the tin, we're going to go 6 months ahead with the long range CFS model. And really it's just for fun, it's just to have a laugh at, so don't take it too seriously. The first month or two has some scientific merit. If the model is working correctly, then that should be the most reliable part. But as we get through to months 3, 4, 5 and 6, obviously that is really in the realm of being just for fun. And we'll have a few laughs. We'll see what CFS is showing, but it shouldn't be taken too seriously. So the two videos released so far today, the first one was the weekend forecast, of course, your regular weekend look ahead, as always on a Saturday. And the second video that was released after that, extending out beyond the weekend time frame to kind of like the 10-day to 2-week time frame. So have a look at those two videos when you get done with the CFS 6 Month Look-Ahead. I'll go through what's happening at Gasworthy's tomorrow at the end of the video. So, we're going to start off with the 700 millibar height anomalies for the next 6 months, and then of course have a look at the corresponding temperature and precipitation anomalies that go with those heights. So we begin in August. So if everything is working correctly, they should be like the most reliable part of the whole thing. Really. Although having said that, even just a month out, the CFS can be pretty unreliable a lot of the time. But anyway, this is what it's showing for August 2019. So it has an area of above average height sitting over and to the east of the country through the central parts of Europe. That's high pressure. Below average heights in the North Atlantic. That's low pressure. And so the jet stream coming across the Atlantic, something like that, and then being pushed northwards. If anything, you would expect this to be a relatively warm, dry signal for August. That doesn't look too bad at all. We could get some decent summer weather in August from that 700 millibar height anomaly. So a pretty decent 700 millibar height anomaly to start us off. Then we go through to month 2. Again, this could be reasonably accurate if the model is working as you would expect. So this is September, and a bit of a flip around for September, actually looking quite unsettled with below average heights then turning up over and to the north of the country. So it does suggest quite an unsettled September, the jet streams coming southwards too. So quite a westerly flow, and therefore a relatively unsettled, and you would have thought pretty cool September could be on offer with that one. So August looking like a dry, warm end of the summer, but then September bringing in autumnal conditions quite early in the autumn. And now we're at month 3, so obviously it's getting more unreliable, and we are at a sort of time frame where you just need to take a big pinch of salt. But this is October 2019, month 3, has below average heights in the central part of the North Atlantic and a little bit of above average heights to the north, kind of like in the Norwegian Sea. It's a very weak area of high pressure. Overall, this looks rather westerly to me. Probably not quite as unsettled as it is during September, where the trough is centred to like the north of Scotland. I mean, that's very unsettled still. But overall, this still looks quite westerly. So I would have thought a relatively unsettled October with probably near normal temperatures looking most likely there. Right, we're at month 4 now, so we're in the realm of just for fun, just have a laugh of it. So this is what the 700 millibar height anomaly from CFS V2 this month is looking like for November. It has an area of above average heights to our southwest, down across Spain into North Africa, below average heights in the North Atlantic. Otherwise, not much else is going on. I think the jet stream could be doing something a little bit like that, perhaps. There may be a trough within the 500 millibar flow across the northern and central parts of Europe. It's difficult to say that there is, but just really with that area of above average heights, which looks rather cut off and stranded and a bit southerly displaced, I think there might be a bit of a trough in the 500 millibar flow. So, excuse me, perhaps near normal precipitation, but rather coolish conditions maybe in November. Excuse me, once again. So this is December and it's month 5. No prizes for what's going on here. For guessing what's going on here, it's reverting to westerlies. So we get this deep area of below average height centred over and to the north of the UK. Above average heights are down there. Westerlies are coming in across the Atlantic into Europe like that. The Atlantic's unleashed, the westerlies are unleashed, and this will be a mild, potentially very mild, but also quite wet signal for December. And then January 2020, as far as we go, month 6 looking like this. And it is, again, a mild zonal signal. It has above average heights in the Atlantic, below average heights to our north. The westerlies are being unleashed, so strong westerly flow. I mean, when we look at temperature anomalies, they're going to show warmer than average. When we look at precipitation anomalies, they're going to show wetter than average. It's the CFS going back to what it does best in winter, which is an attack of the westerlies, and that's a very zonal looking signal for the early and middle winter of 2019-2020. As it's 5 and 6 months away, it's not worth worrying about. Right, temperature anomalies then, and coming back to August, this is how August is looking in terms of the temperature anomaly. A warmer than average month being forecast here. Quite a hot month across many parts of France, UK, Ireland, much of Central Europe as well, going warmer than average. So this is like a very nice August from a temperature perspective. We will have a look at precipitation in a moment, but with a 700 millibar height anomaly sitting over and to the east of the UK, would be pulling up warm, potentially very warm or hot southeasterly winds, and you would just expect that to be a very pleasant, maybe very warm and pretty dry end to the summer. That's September. Remember, in September, we've got the low pressure coming back to the north of Scotland. Quite a deep area of low pressure up here. Westerlies, therefore, are coming through across the country. And unlike in winter, when westerlies are a mild signal, at the beginning of the autumn, westerlies will be a relatively cool wind direction, actually. So the temperature anomaly drops, still hinting at being a little bit milder than average with this month across the far south of England and the north of France. But overall, it's a close to average temperature anomaly, which you would expect in an unsettled, changeable westerly September. October goes warmer than average, not substantially so. We're not talking about exceptionally mild conditions, but we are going a bit above average. I thought October is a strange looking anomaly, really. There's a little bit of high pressure up there, and then there's low pressure out here. I thought overall October still looked rather unsettled, really. Less so than what September shows, but still a rather unsettled month in October. And November goes cooler, so the temperature anomaly in November going to average. I thought in November might be a little bit of a dip within the 500 millibar flow with the jet stream. So something a little bit cooler perhaps coming up for November, although no sign of anything colder than average. But certainly compared to October, it is a rather cooler month as the temperature goes from being above average to close to average. And then look at that, that's December, and all of a sudden it goes exceptionally mild on the temperature scale. We're 1 to 2 degrees above average. So, of course, the model is forecasting December to be a very unsettled month with low pressure around here, high pressure is down here, and we're bringing in the west-southwesterly winds. So, very mild, exceptionally mild December being forecast by CFS V2. And it goes on, actually gets even milder for January. Look at that, exceptionally mild month being forecast for January. Again, we've got low pressure around here. We've got high pressure around there. And the west-southwesterlies are unleashed. They're pushing all the way over to there. And so, month 6, so it's not worth worrying about whatsoever, but interestingly the CFS is again reverting to a very mild and westerly setup for December and for January too. Precipitation finally, so this is how the precipitation anomaly is looking for August. Rather dry than average through many of these western central parts of Europe, so southern England dry than average, much of France dry than average, Germany, low countries into Poland dry than average. That's all where the high pressure is forecast to be sitting. during August, of course. It's like a very nice August. It is a little bit more unsettled for west of Scotland and the far west of Scandinavia, so parts of Norway and Scotland. A little bit unsettled there, a bit of influence of a jet stream. But overall, this looks like a very nice end to the summer for much of Northern and Western Europe, big if, of course, CFS V2 is correct. September obviously goes more unsettled. Low pressure develops to the north of Scotland in September, so it is a cooler and much more unsettled month. The jet streams coming through like that. So we lose high pressure, we replace it with low pressure. A rather wet and relatively cool September would be expected there. October's a funny month, isn't it? The signals aren't great all round, really, for October. Overall, it looks slightly wetter than average still for the north and west of the UK. Maybe a little bit drier than average down to the south and the southeast. I think October's a funny month to pin down, but probably still favouring something rather unsettled during October. November also looks rather unsettled as well. So remember, for November, I thought there might be a bit of a dip in the 500 millibar flow. Maybe these wetter than average conditions for central parts of Europe could indicate that's possible. We're kind of like 4 months away though now, so obviously it isn't worth any concern being placed into it. And then goes exceptionally wet in December, of course, with those westerlies, long fetch, west-south-westerly winds blasting in across the Atlantic and into the UK and most of Europe. It's bringing low pressure in with it, westerly jet stream, and so substantially wetter than average month being forecast, not just for the UK and Ireland, but through most parts of Northern and Western Europe. And then that goes on to some degree into January. January is not as wet as it is during December, but still going overall for average to above average rainfall across western parts of Europe. A couple of interesting points of note for January: drier than average down across the southeast of Europe, around the Balkans into southeast Europe, would imply high pressure down there. Bit drier than average up towards Norway, could imply some high pressure up there, I suppose. So when it goes dry on average in the southeastern corner of Europe and a ridge of high pressure in the winter, it'll generally be quite mild, where you tend to be pushing up southwest winds, and usually what happens is that the reverse takes place in the northwest of Europe, so you get high pressure here, which forces out colder air in that kind of direction. So perhaps a few hints that something a bit colder could take place during January, although the temperature anomaly does look extraordinarily warm. But as it's 6 months away, who cares? Right, so we're going to talk about the next month or two, I think, and leave all of that winter stuff alone. Things for the winter will start getting rather more serious by September, but for now, I think don't bother with that. So let's concentrate on the next couple of months. So August does look like a very nice month, I have to say, really. Looks like it's going to be fairly anticyclonic. We should have warmer than average temperatures, and it should be reasonably dry as well. So a very nice end to the summer in August. Could be a little bit more unsettled in the far northwest. September does look a lot more unsettled. So complete flip, really, in the pattern for September. Looks a lot wetter, a lot more low pressure dominated, a lot more cyclonic, and therefore, consequently, you expect temperatures to be rather on the cool side as well. October all looks very, very up in the air, if you pardon the pun. Looks very flimsy. The signals aren't great for October. And beyond that, we don't worry about it at this stage. Right, so that's it for CFS 6 Month Look-Ahead for this month. We'll do it all over again next month, and of course next month will take us right the way through the winter of 2019-2020 for the first time with the CFS. We'll get to February next month, but again, that will be just for fun also. So next month CFS 6 Month Look-Ahead will be quite an interesting watch, I would have thought. Tomorrow, now no autumn analogues tomorrow. We've taken a week off from the autumn analogues because James, our analogues guru, has been getting together a little bit of winter analogues data, actually. So I can tell you that we have actually got our first winter 2019-2020 analogues in the can, and you will see those analogues in the first winter update on the first day of September. So because of that, it's meant that we've postponed the 7th autumn update. That will be with you next Sunday. So tomorrow we've just got the Gaz Study Roundup, and we'll also have the ECMWF, Metro France and DWD long range update as well. So that'll be quite an interesting watch, and both of those will be with you tomorrow afternoon. But at quarter of an hour, not quite quarter of an hour. Yes, it's quarter of an hour, isn't it? Quarter of an hour. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.